The sun was dying low across the red Arizona plain, turning the sky to blood and dust. The wind carried no mercy, only heat and silence. And from that silence came a shape, a woman, barefoot, torn dress clinging to a frame that had forgotten what food felt like. 3 days, no bread, no water. Her lips cracked open to whisper something no one could hear, not even God seemed to be listening. When she saw the ranch house ahead, wooden, lonely, half swallowed by the desert, she thought it was a mirage. But she kept walking. Each step was borrowed from death itself. Her legs gave out once, then twice. The third time she didn't rise. She fell against the door of that ranch house with a soft thud, her hand leaving a streak of blood on the wood before her body went still. Inside, a man turned at the sound. Clint Morgan hadn't had visitors in years. The last one was the undertaker who'd taken his wife away in a pine box. Since then, the ranch was silent, just him, the cattle, and the sound of the wind pressing its fingers against the walls. He walked to the door slowly, rifle in hand. When he opened it, the sight stopped his breath. A woman lay there, skin pale as parchment, her hair tangled with dust and sweat, her eyes fluttered, unfocused, desperate. "Please," she gasped, voice like broken glass. "Don't shut the door." Then she fainted. Clint's rifle clattered to the floor. He dropped to his knees, lifted her carefully as if she was spun from glass. She was lighter than his old saddle. Her pulse was weak, her breathing shallow. He carried her inside, muttering under his breath, "You're home now, you're home." He didn't know why he said it. It just slipped out, like the wind had whispered the words through him. He laid her on the couch, covered her with his late wife's quilt, and fetched water. When he poured a few drops on her lips, she stirred slightly, but didn't wake. Clint sat beside her, elbows on his knees, staring at the fire. He didn't even know her name. Outside, the coyotes began to sing. By morning, the woman's eyes opened. For a moment, she looked around in panic. "Where am I?" she whispered. "You're safe," Clint said quietly, sitting in a chair across from her. "This here's Morgan Ranch. You fainted on my porch." Her lips trembled. You should have left me there." He frowned. "I don't leave people for dead." Tears filled her eyes. "Then they'll come. They'll find me." Clint's brow furrowed. "Who?" She hesitated, then spoke through trembling lips. "The men from Dry Creek. They took everything. My money, my freedom. I ran 3 days ago. They said they'd kill me if I ever set foot in town again." He felt something cold twist in his chest. Dry Creek wasn't a place for decent souls. It was where the law had been bought and buried long ago. "Eat first," he said, standing up. "Then we'll talk." She tried to rise, but her body failed her. He helped her sit and brought her bread, jerky, and a tin cup of water. She ate like a ghost, afraid the food might vanish. He watched in silence. When she was done, she looked at him again. Her eyes, now clearer, revealed more than fear. They showed shame. "My name's Lena Carver," she said softly. "I used to sing at the Dawson Saloon. My brother gambled away everything, including me. They said I belonged to them now, so I ran." Clint leaned against the wall, his jaw tightening. "You got nobody left?" She shook her head. "Nobody." He stared at the fire, the crackling wood filling the silence. "Then I reckon this is as good a place as any to start over." Her eyes widened. "You don't even know me." "Don't have to," he said simply. "You needed saving. That's all I needed to know." That night, as the wind moaned outside, Lena lay awake, listening to the steady creak of the old house. It felt strange being somewhere safe. Her mind told her to run, but her heart whispered something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Days turned into weeks. She began helping around the ranch, weak at first, but stronger each day. Clint tried to keep his distance, but found himself watching her through the window, her hair catching the light as she fed the chickens, her soft humming drifting through the yard. He told himself she'd leave once she'd healed, but every day she stayed, the house felt less empty. Still, he could see the fear behind her eyes. Every noise, every rider passing down the trail made her flinch. One evening, while they sat on the porch watching the sun sink into the desert, she whispered, "They won't stop, Clint. Men like that never do." He said nothing for a moment, then looked at her. "Then let them come." She turned to him, startled. "You'd risk your life for me?" He met her gaze, eyes steady as steel. "Ma'am, there ain't much of it left worth risking." That night, the dogs began barking before dawn. Clint was already out of bed when he heard the hooves. 3 riders, coming fast. He loaded his rifle. "Stay inside," he told Lena, his voice low but calm. The riders stopped at the fence line, dust swirling around them. Their leader, tall, red scarf over his mouth, called out, "We know she's in there, Morgan. Hand her over and maybe we'll let you keep your hide." Clint stepped onto the porch, rifle raised. "You boys rode a long way for a mistake." The man laughed, spitting into the dirt. "You can't fight all of us." Clint's eyes narrowed. "I don't have to." The first shot cracked like thunder. The leader dropped from his horse before the echo died. The others fired wildly, bullets splintering the porch rail. Clint moved with quiet precision. 2 shots, 2 more bodies fell. When it was over, the silence returned. Smoke rose from his rifle barrel, drifting into the morning sky. Lena ran out, barefoot, tears in her eyes. "Clint!" He turned to her slowly, his face shadowed by the brim of his hat. "It's done." She threw her arms around him, sobbing against his chest. For a long time he didn't move. Then his rough hands came up and held her. "You're safe," he said quietly. "You're home now." She looked up at him through tears. "Why would you do this for me?" His voice was low, almost breaking. "Because someone should have done it for my wife when she needed saving." Her breath caught. What happened to her? He looked out toward the horizon. "Fever took her. And when she died, I stopped living until you showed up at that door." Lena wiped her eyes, her voice trembling. "Then maybe I wasn't dying when I came here. Maybe I was meant to find you." He said nothing, but the look in his eyes spoke more than words. Weeks passed. The sheriff came to take the bodies, asked no questions. Everyone in town knew Clint Morgan wasn't a man to be crossed. Spring rolled in slow and golden. The ranch began to bloom again. Wildflowers along the fence, calves in the pasture, sunlight spilling through clean windows. One evening, Lena stood on the porch, watching the sunset. Clint walked up beside her, the wind tugging at his hat. "Never thought I'd see color in this place again," he said softly. She smiled. "You brought it back." He shook his head. "No, ma'am, you did." They stood there a while, silent but content. For the first time in years, the world felt alive again. When the sun dipped below the horizon, she turned to him. "Clint, what happens now?" He looked down, a faint smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. "Whatever you want to happen." Her eyes filled with tears again, this time not from fear or pain, but from something gentler. She reached out, her hand finding his. "I want to stay," she whispered. "I want this to be home." He squeezed her hand, rough fingers trembling. Then it settled. The desert wind softened. The ranch dogs lay down. Somewhere in the distance a coyote howled, not in warning but in song. Clint turned toward her, the dying light painting his face gold. "You're home now," he said again quietly, as though the words belonged to the land itself. And this time, when she smiled, the loneliness of 2 broken souls found its ending in that single fragile moment. They stood there as night took the sky, the stars burning bright above the endless plain. two lost hearts that had found shelter in each other's silence. And if you listen close on certain evenings when the wind sweeps down from the hills, you can still hear her voice at the old Morgan Ranch, soft, grateful, and full of peace, whispering into the desert, "You're home now."